Welcome back to Ozark Garage. Today we're going to do some painting in the shop. And we're going to paint these wheels here for my 2011 Tundra, and we're going to paint it using one of my favorite products, which is what I call bulk Rust-Oleum. So Rust-Oleum that comes in a can, comes in quarts, gallons, available at Home Depot. It's cheap, it's available, it's easy to use. I've also used this type of paint on my Lotus 7 Roadster, so if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the upper right hand corner. Be sure to check that out. So these wheels are 15 years old now, and they're starting to get some flaking paint and typical corrosion of aluminum wheels. I'm not trying to restore these wheels by any means, I just don't want them to look this bad. So they're going to get painted a satin black and get rid of this corrosion and hopefully have several more years of life in them. So I've gone ahead and power washed these really well outside, just to knock off as much of the loose stuff as I possibly can and kind of have a clean surface to start with. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to flip the wheel over, I'm going to peel off the stick-on wheel weights and clean up all the residue that's in there from old wheel weight sets. And then we're going to sandblast them and finally prep and paint. I'm going to go ahead and sandblast these. Sandblasting these, because of their size, they won't fit in my blast cabinet. So I'm going to use my Harbor Freight pressure pot here. And this is going to be done outside because it's going to make a giant mess. So I've got an old blue tarp here that I like to sandblast on because I can keep most of the media contained, and then I can recycle it. So I can scoop it up and put it back in the pressure pot and reuse it again. So if you don't have a sandblaster and you're doing this, wire brush them. Wire brush them as good as you can. But I've got a lot of peeling chipped paint here and corrosion that I want to get below before I prime them and paint. So this is a hateful job. It's pretty hot outside, I'm sweating, but because this media gets everywhere, I'm still going to put on a military surplus gas mask and an old raincoat. All right, so the sandblaster does a great job of getting rid of the corrosion and the flaking and peeling paint, but it leaves kind of a sharp edge where the bare metal and old paint meet. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking a Rolock disc here on the die grinder and some sandpaper, and I'm just blending in the old paint, which I'm not completely stripping off, to the bare metal. So when I spot prime it, it's got a nice smooth surface and you won't be able to tell where this is, hopefully. Start with the sheet of plastic over the wheel, grab it in the middle, pinch, pull it up, and then you're going to lay it across the wheel and start approximately in the middle and go almost all the way to the edge of the wheel and grab it there tightly. Next you need a pair of scissors, and you're going to cut off the piece that you've pinched off. This is going to give you a perfect circle that is just slightly smaller than the wheel, approximately 2 inches in diameter or 1 inch all around. To do the rest of it and actually get this down in here, use an old trick of a deck of cards. So all you got to do is start working your way around the wheel, shoving a card between the wheel and tire, and overlap them all the way around. For priming, I'm just using some Rust-Oleum aluminum primer. It's like a self-etching type primer, but it's white instead of the green, and I'm just spot priming the bare areas. All right, so now it's time to mix and spray some paint. So we're going to use what I call bulk Rust-Oleum, which comes in a quart or gallon can. And then we're going to use the magic ingredient, which is some clear hardener from the farm store. So this is Tractor Equipment Industrial Enamel. This will make the Rust-Oleum paint set up harder. It'll actually set it up in a sealed container overnight, if you will. We're going to use our Harbor Freight purple HVLP gun with the universal spray system. So all we have to do is mix it, put it in this cup. It's got a strainer built in, flip it over and spray. So you mix it 16:1 with the paint. Then you need to let it sit for 10 minutes, and then you can thin it and spray it. So I typically thin this Rust-Oleum about 40%. So 60% paint, 40% acetone, and that makes it spray really well out of this Harbor Freight spray gun and dry pretty quickly. All right, so sprayed these last night. Here it is the next day. These have had, I'm gonna say 18 hours to dry, not quite 24. It's pretty hot today, it's in the high 80s. So they've had plenty of time to cure here in the shop. Overall, I'm really happy with how they turned out so far. There's a couple spots where the pitting was real bad that I probably should have used some filler primer, sanded, and done a couple coats of filler primer. But overall, it's pretty good. I was trying to keep this to a one-day project, but obviously we've spilled over into another day. So now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna pull out the cards, gently flip over the wheel, and then paint the backside using the same cards to mask it off. So the insides of the wheels had from the factory what looked like a clear powder coat, and it's peeling, cracked, but it's really gummy and really wouldn't sandblast off. So the insides of the wheels don't look great. I'm not planning to prime these because I don't want any primer overspray on the outside of the wheels, but I did blast it like I said, and I've knocked off all the loose stuff I can. I'm gonna go ahead and spray it black, just so if you're looking at the wheels from the outside and you're looking through, you don't see the bare metal on the inside. Now that we've got the inside of the wheels painted, we can go ahead and remove our cards, remove our plastic, flip the wheels over, reinstall the center caps, air them back up, and then put them back on the truck. So here's the finished wheels reinstalled on the Tundra. The only thing I have left to do is get some black lug nuts just to kind of complete the look. These are a little dirty right now because it rained pretty much the exact day I put them back on. And that's another reason to use the hardener. They hardened up nicely, no runs, no damage from the rain. Anyway, I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think they look a lot better than the corroded wheels did anyway. So if you have any questions, post in the comments below. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.